Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Good afternoon. My name is Jonah Jung, and these are your news headlines for 2 p.m. In our local community, Vancouver's iconic Bright Lights fundraiser is leaving the city to move to Surrey. Reporter Leah Warren explains what to expect from Mayor Brenda Locke's announcement this afternoon.
After nearly 30 years in Stanley Park, the Bright Lights Festival is finding a new home in Surrey. The holiday event has been the largest fundraiser for the BC Professional Firefighters Burn Fund, but has been plagued with issues since the festival's centerpiece, the miniature train, stopped working in 2024. The location of the event is yet to be named, but two frontrunners are Bear Creek Park and the Cloverdale Fairgrounds. Mayor Locke is said to reveal this information in a press conference later today. Leah Warren, BCIT News.
The mission of the Simon Fraser University Gender Studies and Women's Studies Book Club is to have a purpose. Our reporter Eden Chipperfield has more on the monthly meetings.
Beyond fictional worlds are real-life conversations, which is the goal that the Gender Studies and Women's Studies Book Club members are meeting. The titles of the books chosen are based on their feminist themes that are present within the pages. Founder of the book club, Yasmin Vysimsik, says that the club is a way to discuss novels from different intersectional feminist perspectives.
I think, well, it's always intersectional because I think, in my opinion, that's the only right way of feminist. Well, in the sense that it's not a white feminist book club. We try and make sure that we read authors from a multitude of different races and identities.
The group meets once a month and is open to all who are interested. Eden Chipperfield, BCIT News.
The provincial government has said it'll launch a gender-based violence action plan to protect the Indigenous community. As the government addressing the crisis of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, the provincial government has decided to boost the support. The deal with Ottawa augments annual funding of more than $60 million, supporting more than 475 victim service programs for women. The province says the funds have been given to Indigenous-led programs for preventing violence in rural and remote regions of BC. BC government also says it'll expand rural cell phone service for safer travels. U.S. Ambassador to Canada Pete Hoekstra says the White House was hopeful it'll reach a greater deal with Canada. In response, Prime Minister Mark Carney says he's hoping to reach smaller sectoral deals with President Trump to resolve the ongoing trade war. Hoekstra has said in an event Americans were expecting a greater deal.
We were hoping that we would not just renegotiate CUSMA, but that we could take it into being something much bigger. It's obvious, at least at this point in time, that that's not going to happen.
Finance Minister Francois Philippe Champagne says U.S. has turned its back on Canada by launching a trade war. New analysis by Environment and Climate Change Canada says human-based climate change might have led to an August heat wave in Atlantic Canada. Federal climate scientists say it was one of the 10 hottest heat waves in July and August. The government research scientist Nathan Gillett says the research has lots of ways to be applied.
So the results of this research can help us better plan for, better respond to and rebuild following weather emergencies. Understanding of how the risks are changing can help us inform decision-making to protect health, safety and property of Canadians. And it can also help planning climate change adaptation efforts.
Toronto Public Library has expanded mental health services to 12 library branches to help vulnerable people in the city. Being built on a pilot program that serves 42,000 people, TPL is collaborating with the Gerstein Crisis Center to provide short-term mental health counseling. The manager of social development of the library, Amanda French, says the services are designed to make those in need feel comfortable.
These are folks that are already in our spaces, and so having them connect with things that they perhaps didn't even know how to find to begin with, bringing it right into the spaces where they are, that absolutely helps us build a community that shows that it's compassionate, it's a caring response, it's a kind response, and it's a destigmatized response.
The library says the idea initially started 2 years ago, offering mental health support, housing workers, and addiction resources to the visitors. The Alberta government says the industrial carbon tax price will be frozen, maintaining a lower price to give the energy industry stability and relief. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith has announced that Alberta's price will stay at $95 per ton of emissions in May. The neighboring province was set to increase the carbon tax to $110 per ton from next year. Although the federal backstop rate is supposed to be enforced, it remains unclear whether Prime Minister Mark Carney will enforce the higher price. The Union of Education Assistants in Alberta says its members will not step in to help schools if teachers walk away from the job next month. The president of Canadian Union of Public Employees, Raj Upal, says the union members are told to refuse work. Upal says the union members will clarify areas where duties overlap. She says the union will do everything in their legal power to help teachers improve classroom conditions. The strike happened earlier this year as thousands of education support workers joined the picket lines due to wages and working conditions. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith says the Alberta government is offering teachers fair wage deal, saying it will also hire more educators to reduce overcrowding. After the tragic death of Charlie Kirk, Utah Valley University students are returning to classes Wednesday for the first time. Some students stood in silence as they stared down at the barricaded courtyard where Kirk was shot. Yesterday, Utah prosecutors charged Tyler Robinson, a 22-year-old Utah man, including murder, aggravated assault, and obstruction of justice. The authorities say during the search to find the alleged shooter, Robinson allegedly texted his partner and confessed to assassinating Kirk. The prosecutors say he will face death penalty. After the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced Israel will take full control of Gaza, Israeli troops and tanks have started to push deeper into Gaza City. Airstrikes cut off phones and internet services on Wednesday, making it harder for Palestinians to summon ambulances during the operation. Meanwhile, the death toll of Palestinians in Israel Hamas war has passed 65,000. Israeli minister says Air Force and artillery units have struck city more than 150 times, with the ground troops moving in. Military officials from Israel say the soldiers will be met with 3,000 Hamas and allies fighters asking them to exercise caution. The former Centers for Disease Control and Prevention chief Susanna Monarez warned U.S. senators America's health is in a dangerous situation under the leadership of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Monarez, who was hand-selected by Kennedy, has spoken before the Senate Health Committee today that deadly diseases such as polio will come back to America. Former chief of CDC has added that Kennedy allegedly demanded that she should pre-approve recommendations from a CDC panel or get fired. Moving on to sports, Jerry Greenland has resigned from his co-founder position at the famous ice cream brand Ben & Jerry's. Ben Cohen posted Greenfield's letter on X on behalf, which says the co-founder has decided to resign as the freedom to speak on issues was taken away from the company. Haya Panjwani from the Associated Press has more on why Greenfields has decided to make such a decision.
Jerry from Ben & Jerry's has quit the ice cream brand after 47 years. Co-founder Jerry Greenfield says that the independence the company once had to speak up on social issues has been stifled by its parent company, Unilever. That's according to a letter that co-founder Ben Cohen posted on social media on Greenfield's behalf. Greenfield said that the loss of independence was coming at a time when our country's current administration is attacking civil rights, voting rights, the rights of immigrants, women, and the LGBTQ community. Ben & Jerry's has been at odds with Unilever for a while. In March, Ben & Jerry's said its CEO was unlawfully removed in retaliation for the ice cream maker's social and political activism. In a federal court filing, Ben & Jerry's said that violated its merger agreement with Unilever. I'm Haya Panjwani.
Moving now to sports, Connor McDavid's unresolved contract situation looms over as the training camp begins for the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers captain goes into the final season of his deal, but has yet to sign an extension. His teammate Zach Hyman, forward of the team, says the captain's contract deal will not be an obstacle.
Connor is the ultimate leader, captain, Oiler. Like he just wants to win. So there's no doubt in the locker room that that's where his mind's at.
The 28-year-old Oilers captain has won the NHL's MVP award 3 times. Although student-athlete registrations are at a record high, a report suggests that 1 in 5 girls continue to drop out of sports in high school. Graciela Cruz Flores has more on the report.
While girls' participation is rising in school sports, dropout rates remain an issue in adolescence. Accessibility, like financial or field access, are seen in soccer as a barrier for many girls. For former athlete Michaela Ismail, says she witnesses a pressuring culture on the pitch with teammates.
Because once you're trying out for a new team, and this team has already been together for a year or two, like there's going to be groups formed, the team is already pretty close. So when you're a new person coming into that, especially girls, it's not necessarily the most welcoming group to go into right away, and it takes a long time to get used to everyone and to like.
Younger girls are growing up with more role models based in the city. The Vancouver Rise FC showing more elite competition and community for women and girls in Vancouver. Graciela Cruz Flores, BCIT News.
As September goes on, Fat Bear Week has returned to vote for the fattest, most successful Katami bear. Fat Bear Week is an annual celebration of brown bears that will go into hibernation in Katami National Park in Alaska. With the tournament being a single elimination base, nominated bear will be crowned as the Fat Bear Week champion. For today, it'll be most likely to be cloudy with the temperature remaining at 19 Celsius. These have been your news headlines for 2 p.m. My name is Jonah Jung for BCIT's The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
I would recommend this program for anyone that isn't sure what kind of job they want in media, because you learn everything from like public relations to communications to video editing, like radio, TV. So you do get a lot of experience in all the different fields in media.